Hello there, Luis Ponce here for Mind Body Motion, Senior TPR Therapist, and TPR stands for Therapeutic Pain Relief. So one of the main things that we do with the TPR program is we release myofascial disorders. So a myofascial disorder is a trigger point, it's a painful muscle in your body that doesn't get rid of with even, you just touch it or you want to stretch it, and the pain comes back or persists. So that's what we call it, a myofascial disorder. But it is just a knot, on the tissue. When we look at like in the forearm, you can find them in there. So that's a trigger point. It triggers pain. So what's happening with that is that area is lacking of energy or flow coming through, and it's kind of stuck, if you will. So what we do in our therapy, we'll find precisely where the point is, and then we'll release it and activate the flow again, so your brain can communicate with that area, and usually, the pain disappears, and we have really good progress and results by utilizing that technique. So anyhow, hopefully you come and check us out on that. And following up on the last video, I want to ask you, how do you feel when you tried to mobilize your hip? Was that easy to move? Did you find that it was hard for you to lift your leg? Did it pop? Did you have some cramping like I did myself when I was doing those exercises? So just making you aware that it is just the beginning. Whatever you are right now, you're not stuck with that position. Whatever it may be, you're having a lot of pain in your knee, your back, any joint of your body, what is happening is it has lost its resilience, and it has lost its non-anatomical range of motion. Okay? When the tissue gets tight and swelled up and restricted, your brain is gonna avoid moving that joint. Okay? So the idea that we are looking for with these videos is to share the information for you to have the ability to have control on your body and take command of that and learn how to mobilize areas of your body. So on today's video, we're going to be focusing on the feet area, okay, because our feet are the contact to the ground, and that's how we communicate to the body when you're standing up. Also very important is our first way for us to travel. Okay, it's the best way of transportation is walking. So we don't pay attention to our feet till we have issues with it. So I'm gonna show you on the screen how many layers of tissue there are there, and how the foot is put together, and how sometimes just spending hundreds of dollars on different shoes is not the best solution. Putting support on your arches, taking support from your arches, etc. Sometimes is not the best solution. They may be used in an injury case, but most important is for you to understand how to communicate with your feet and create really good motion on that area. So we're going to be working on your foot and organizing it on the lateral manner and the areas that we don't usually move, but also checking out on the proper way to move front and back on your foot. So let me take you to the screen and then show you how the foot gets put together with all these tendons and ligaments and all the joints inside there. Okay, so we have the bottom of the foot right here. So you can see how all the big synovial socks are right here that lubricate the ankle. Look at right in through here. And the joints also have, all of them have a little cartilage. Okay. So that's where we run into trouble when we lose ability to mobilize the joints right here. Then the foot start getting stiff, and we change our gait, and our base of stability will also change. So this is the first layer. So how deep it is right in here on this section. You can see how that works. And then wraps nicely on the bottom, and then you can see the tendon coming out from the top right here. So different muscle come right in your calf area. Okay, look at all those tendons. They're coming in here to mobilize the tip of our toes right there. Okay? And another muscle comes right here to the side, and it's just like putting it so you can have all these motions that you have in there. This is the larger muscles right in there. They come in and put together there. So I'm gonna bring this down a little bit, and then you can see how it comes around here, and it's all those cords, if you will, or cables that mobilize our foot. And primarily you can see how it will be, the foot will be coming in, raising your heel, and also raising our toes right here through all this mechanism that we have in there. All right, so we're going to be releasing some of that tension. We're going to be using a lacrosse ball on the bottom, and I'm also going to be showing you how to release some of the tibialis muscles and work on your calf a little bit on the shin part too. So as you can see, you know, it's a very complex mechanism, and it's very important for us to really understand, you know, when you're running, you're having problems with your feet, or your knee is bothering you, or your hip is bothering you. I need you to really pay attention to what's going on with that. So our main focus right now is for us to understand the center of gravity. Okay, the center of gravity will dictate how much pressure we're going to put on our feet. And it's very important for us to understand that part. We're going to be looking also on the force generation, how do we create ground force, and also the sequence of stabilization. Okay, there is important point here on a concept that's called force coupling relationship. And one of the things that happens when we have problems with our limbs is because the center of our body, the transverse abdominal muscle, which is the first abdominal muscle, is not working on time. Okay, studies show that before we raise the arm or move the leg, 70 milliseconds will be prior to that, the TBA will be engaged. So what happens is that, imagine this being the lower body and this being the upper body. When we put it together here, now we have a strong, longer pipe. So this signifies being the transverse abdominal here. So when it's not engaged properly in time, on the proper sequence, then we're going to have issues with the shoulder, the hips, the ankle, the knee, etc. Okay, so we're going to be engaging on that at the end for you to start paying attention to that, engaging your lower abdominals to get better stabilization of your feet, and working out also with the center of gravity to get a better position of your body when you are bending or hiking or any other thing that you may do, you know, going up and down stairs as we spoke before. So we're going to go to do those exercises. We'll see you then. So we'll start by in a seated position. We're going to put the lacrosse ball there. So in a seated position, it's a little lighter pressure you can put in there. I'm going to stand up and put more pressure in there so that way you can see where I'm putting the pressure on. So it's good advice to organize yourself like if you are going to be walking. So that way the force that you disperse from your foot, it can be absorbed on the upper part of the leg. Sometimes, you know, we'll do this type of releases, but then our body is not in proper alignment to take the release that we get in there. So as I'm doing there, I'm putting pressure on close to the heel, but I'm coming down into it. Okay, it's very important to understand that. Come into the ball as much as you can, and you can get the tension regulated by bending your knee and hip at the same time. Okay, so we're going to be focused on doing only one leg. Now I'm going to show you how to release the front of your leg. This is the famous shin pain that we feel when we start running, we haven't run in a while, or when you are we get to the fatigue mile 20, famous mile 20, we get the cramping in that. So this is a really good technique for releasing the tibialis muscle, and also through the back, you can just mobilize a little bit of the calf. Now traction it and start moving it
laterally. See, so that will start helping you organize your foot better and a seated position like we were doing in last week's video. Okay, practicing on that. All different directions. Just get that freedom of movement there. Now, now we're gonna organize and put everything together. Obviously, you want to do the other side too before you do this, but for a matter of time, I'm gonna be doing only one leg. So now we organize and starting now from the feet up, ankles first, knees, and so like corkscrew the feet, and then rotate. You can see how the foot leads the motion. So as you move your foot first, then the hip will follow very, very, very nicely. So the knee doesn't have any stress when you do it in the proper sequence. See? So the sequence of stabilization is key to avoid wearing out our knees. Okay, so I'm showing you the grounding again. So you start from the, rotating your knees outward, and that picks up your arches. Then organize your buttocks, your glutes, and then draw your belly button in where it's in a comfortable position, and then shift your rib cage 45 degrees. Follow that line right there at 45 degrees, and then we're going to start doing a pendulum to start organizing the foot back and forth. It's the primary movement of the foot. See, the pendulum effect will help you retension the front and back lines of your body there, and also the deep center line will be activated by having these tensile forces coming into play. So we're looking for the 5-degree angle to do a good squat positioning, and I'm also standing, so I'm really, really organizing my feet and I'm provoking my nervous system to be aware of where I'm at. Now we're going to shift our center of gravity to put us into a really good bending position. And then you can use that to pivot right back up. Okay? So it's a good way for us to start getting our foot integrated and getting into good positioning there. Continue doing these exercises here. You can spend a few minutes in the morning, and we'll continue this process next week, working out on your knee, organizing your knee. Okay? Keep on moving, and we'll see you next week.